projection.
Welcome everybody to Taking on Sports. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, how you doing today?
I am good. How are you today, sir?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Springtime has come to Birmingham for now, at least. Uh, yeah, let's kick things off as we usually do with our guys in Crimson. Up and down week again for Alabama. Uh, Hard fought road victory earlier in the week at Oxford against Ole Miss. Had to come from behind, slow start, which was a little surprising given that they got, the whooping they took at Kentucky last weekend. You figured they might want to come out on fire, but they
Right.
didn't. But fought hard, and I saw a crazy stat on that. They were down, what was it, like 5 points or whatever with 5 minutes to go, or maybe 10 points with 5 minutes to go in the first half.
Yeah.
And from that point on, so the last 25 minutes of gameplay, they scored 80 points. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It shows
Yeah,
the
that's good.
explosiveness of the
Exactly.
offense, the Alabama offense. And then last night, a little bit of different story. A tough loss at home to Tennessee. A hard fought game. They went on a 12-0 run in the first half and take a 1 point lead into the locker room, but they came out really cold. I think missed 11 of their first 12 shots. Only made 2 threes the entire second half. It was just a tough loss. They needed that kind of extra edge against a team the quality of Tennessee, and they just couldn't find it. So what do you make of this week's results, Greg?
Well, like you said, man, that second half in Oxford was epic. I mean, where we put up 60 some points. I mean, we're down, four at halftime and just totally took over the second half. Obviously, whatever Nate Oates told them in the locker room definitely worked because they put in work in the second half. Man, last night though, it's frustrating. I mean, it was a game of runs. I mean, Tennessee got out to a, pretty quick lead there. Then we, bounced back, went on a nice run at the end of the first half to go up two at the half. And, we had a couple, back and forth runs. We go up in the second half. They'd hit it. Unfortunately, their run at the end kind of put us out the game there. It was a bad shooting night. Crazy thing is, it really wasn't the defense that kept us out of the game. I thought last night the defense actually, as bad as it was the week prior. I mean, they held their own. I thought, they, held one of the better players in America with 13 points last night in Connect. You know, I, but the shooting was bad. Tennessee just seemed to every loose ball and every a lot of loose balls. Tennessee got there quicker, and they just and then a lot of second chance points as well there. Um, but the effort was there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think right now, Tennessee just unfortunately a better team than us, top to bottom.
Uh, yeah, I think that's what it came down to ultimately. Is Tennessee is a Final Four caliber team.
Right.
They could still snatch a 1 seed if like
Mhm.
say Arizona loses above them and they finish
Yeah.
off and win the SEC regular season in the tournament. But
Yeah.
they just have that one extra edge that that extra gear the
Right.
Tide couldn't find last night. And they did.
Right.
You mentioned they played well defensively. Dalton Connect, they held him to like 5 of 14 shooting. It just didn't happen.
Right. I mean, they definitely had opportunity to win.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We were up, and then the last 7-8 minutes of the game when we have like two field goals, like it was, like, we just I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
was rough.
It was definitely rough. The shooting was definitely off. We definitely missed Rand Nelson's presence just because of the
Mm-hmm.
he was in foul trouble a lot, and then Some of the guys that have been a thorn in our side at times for a while there. I mean, Zakai Ziegler. I mean, he had a big night. I swear he's been at Tennessee for
Mhm.
like 20 years. Um, him and what's that other guy? I can't even think of his name right now. Seemed like he had some big rebounds and stuff
Oh,
last night. I can't even think of his name right now.
what's his
But
face?
he,
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
uh, yeah, Santiago Vesco. Yeah, he had some big buckets. So it's a disappointing loss, but at the same
Hmm.
time, we still have a lot to play for, a lot going on. I mean, obviously, still a big week coming up because you want to stay at the 2 seed. I mean, it's
Hmm.
currently at the 2 seed. A big game Tuesday night on the road in Gainesville. So, I mean, we have been very good on the road. A lot of our quality games against decent opponents, we've been blown out, unfortunately. So hopefully we see something different there um, Tuesday, and then of course closing out Saturday against Arkansas, who's had a just a horrible season. But you'd hope that we could win both of those just so we can stay at that 2 seed. Wouldn't play till what Friday then in the SEC tournament. So
Yeah.
um, I mean, obviously we're going to get the double bye regardless, but I'd much rather be there 2 than move down anymore there. So unless crazy things happen, we're not going to win the SEC again, unfortunately. And we had our chance there. It was an epic crowd. I mean, the crowd really showed up
Hmm.
last night. The atmosphere seemed great. Just sadly came up
No.
short. Doesn't happen very much
Yeah.
for us in Tuscaloosa. I mean, we're a solid
Hmm.
home team, so
Yeah.
disappointing loss.
First home league loss in what 2 years, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's a like you said, a tough loss, disappointing loss. Nothing to hang your head about though.
We
Just
still
you
have a
had
lot.
your chances.
Yeah,
Yeah, playing without Grant Nelson the last what 6 7 minutes was rough.
yeah,
As per usual in college basketball, the refs made sure everyone heard their whistles. I think there were 44 fouls called in that game last night. 54 free throws
yeah,
shot by the teams.
yeah,
It's a little too much, and a lot of those fouls they were pretty ticky tacky.
yeah.
Both ways a little bit too, but it did seem that we didn't get the home cooking that you would expect.
We would hopefully we
Um,
can get in there, but
yeah.
that I don't know. It doesn't seem very. I mean, that seems to have happened quite a lot to Alabama, honestly. I
Hmm.
don't think we get the respect that maybe we
Yeah.
should at this point. I would say the biggest bright spot I saw last night was Nick Pringle had a great game.
Hmm. I was just
He
about
was
to mention
ferocious
him.
with the rebounds. He got his ugly points, but I mean he got to the free throw line a lot late. He was grabbing rebounds, being physical. Man, if we could get that Nick Pringle for the rest of the season, that would be great.
That's huge. Yeah, huge present to have inside. He was battling. One thing we didn't mention, for whatever reason, a lot of those 50-50 balls just did not end up in our hands.
I don't
And we were trying. It was just the ball was not bouncing
know. They
in
got every
Alabama's
loose,
favor.
every loose ball.
Hmm.
They seem to come up, and then they would hit a big shot and
Yeah,
kick out.
yeah.
Three. Like, oh my
And
god.
and that's what championship teams do. In Tennessee right now looks like one of the favorites to make a run to the Final Four. Much as we hate it. So yeah, tough to take the sweep on the year from a rival
Yeah,
like that. Of course, not as big as a basketball rivalry as it is on the gridiron, but still. Um,
still,
yeah, still. But maybe you'll see him again in the SEC tournament, or maybe you see him in the NCAA tournament.
right? Who knows? But we
Have
still
have a chance. Yeah.
have a lot to
Um,
play for. But yeah,
yeah, you can't slow down, can't slip up now because you don't want to mess around. And I think there still is a slight chance we could even drop out of the double bye. in the SEC tournament if I think we'd probably have
If
to
we
lose
lose
both
both
of
games,
our games. Yeah, but
yeah.
and there's a
With
slight chance that we could still win the SEC. Tennessee would need to lose both their
both
games
games,
this
right?
week, and it's not out of the realm of possibility. They play at
Yeah.
South Carolina Wednesday, and then
Hmm.
next Saturday they host Kentucky. So those two tough games right there.
Those
Um,
are two definitely tough games.
mhm,
South Carolina, got a big win yesterday at home. Came back
mhm.
against the Gators. I mean, they have a good atmosphere going for them, but I don't know. Tennessee's just tough right now.
It is, yeah. And South Carolina, another tough week. They host Tennessee, then they turn around and
Mhm.
end their season at State, which is always a tricky
Yeah,
uh, trip to
tough place to go
Starkville.
times. Yeah.
The other contenders this week, let's see. So that South Carolina's in third.
Hmm.
Kentucky. So right now it's Tennessee at first, 13-3. Bama and South Carolina 2-3 at 12-4, and then you got Kentucky and
Hmm.
Auburn at 11-5.
Yeah.
Um, this week, let's see. A few Tuesday games this week. Auburn goes to Missouri, so winless Missouri, you should,
Should be fine.
um, yeah, should be fine. You lose there, then that's not good.
Hmm.
Kentucky host Vanderbilt Wednesday, so again,
Fishing.
that's something. Yeah, they should win that. Um, and then Saturday, we mentioned South Carolina goes to State. We mentioned Kentucky goes to Knoxville. Auburn hosts Georgia. So again, those two winnable games for the Tigers
Right.
as they try to get on that double bye
Hmm.
train. Of course, Alabama ends after that Tuesday trip to Gainesville. They end in Coleman next Saturday, hosting Arkansas. A very winnable game.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely. It'll be senior day
mhm.
for Mark Sears and
Yeah,
Grant Nelson, and so you'd hope that they would come out and get the big win there. It's an early one,
right.
but this Arkansas team, man, they are bad.
Yeah, they've struggled. Have
Mightily.
not played them yet this year, have we? No.
No, that'd be the first time.
Yeah, surprisingly, but no, yeah, not a good Heisman team. And is I do know you Sears, but doesn't did I read somewhere that Sears actually might have another
Does he have another one?
because of the COVID year?
Oh,
I'm not sure if that's something that him or even Nelson or somebody. I don't know. All these. It's so hard to keep track of now, but that would
yeah,
definitely be talk about a boost for next year.
yeah. If he wanted to stay, but I'm sure. I mean, I don't know if his stock will ever get higher than what it has been this year.
Hmm.
I don't know what his NBA prospect could look like necessarily, but if he's
Yeah,
ever wanting to go to the league, this is the time to go because he's put on quite the season now.
yeah, and he definitely. It seems like he just won't win SEC Player of the Year, but damn it, he should. If not, he absolutely deserves every first team honor he gets, and
First team, every
put him on the All American team. Like third team, whatever. I don't know how many
yeah.
All American teams there are, but
There's at least three. He definitely deserves one of them. Maybe
absolutely
probably
does.
not
Yeah.
first team, but second or third, most definitely. I mean, he's had an
Yeah.
epic season
Hmm.
for sure. I was over 20 a game there.
Hmm.
Leader of the team. I mean, and just what he, I mean, just the transition from last year. I mean, he was
Hmm.
good, but I mean, you never. I mean, just for what his role was last year, you weren't sure if he was going to be able to become the
Hmm.
guy that he's become. And man, he's well overachieved to what I thought his season was going to be coming into the season. So
Yeah. Um. Yeah. And want to mention too before we get off of Bama. What a week for Davin Cosby Jr.
man, was it? Yeah.
Coming out party against Ole Miss, hit 5 threes, and he has just got
Hmm.
the green light to pull that trigger.
Hmm.
And he is a guy that kind of stepped up in the absence of Latrell Wrightsell.
Hmm.
And if he can keep getting minutes, even when Wrightsell hopefully returns, That could be huge addition to the team.
Oh
And
yeah,
speaking of Right Cell too, it's very his presence definitely missed.
for sure.
So you hope he can get back. And then yeah, looking at all these guys on our roster for Senior Day next week, it's Nelson Pringle, Sharnowski, bench guy, Estrada,
Yeah.
Sears, and Reitzel. So not sure which of those guys still have COVID year eligibility left. Would love to see basically all of those names return.
Oh, and you will love it because the
Yeah.
crazy thing is,
Mhm,
though we have a lot of new faces, a lot of talent coming into Tuscaloosa next year.
mhm,
It's basically a whole new team again there.
mhm. Yeah, you'd
That's
like to
crazy.
keep as much consistency as possible. But
Yeah.
you got, of course, just quickly looking ahead, it's guys like Diabate,
Hmm.
Stevenson, Wagyu, Sam Walters, Cosby. We
Hmm.
mentioned Rylan Griffin. There's plenty
Talent,
of guys. Yeah,
and
plenty
then
of talent.
all the recruiting that Nate's done. Whether we have like two
Hmm.
McDonald's All Americans coming, like we got should have a very talented team next year, but a lot of
Absolutely.
young guys. So be interesting to see who steps up there.
Uh, but yeah, bracketology. I do believe I saw that the loss dropped Alabama down to the 4 seed line. Um, Unfortunate, but hey, time to win your way back to a 3 seed
Right.
maybe.
Yeah.
And then let's see elsewhere around the country, a couple of other big games yesterday. Baylor beat Kansas.
Mm.
Creighton beat Marquette. Um, it just kind of goes just more of what we've talked about all year. There is no clear cut number one team.
Right. For sure.
There's a few top teams, but even they're susceptible. Kansas and Marquette are
Hmm.
considered two of the
Yeah.
top teams in the country, and they both went down. So it's going to be a really fun March uh, of basketball, man.
Oh man, is it?
I mean, even those, even your like your top three, say teams that are, your UConns, your Purdue,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Arizona.
H- yeah, Houston. They're great. They're winning. Houston had a big win yesterday.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
But
tough
they're
win,
all
but
they're all beatable though. I mean, there's no
yeah,
one like me.
you can get them. There, everyone's there to be got.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a really fun time. Of course, this week starts championship week. In a college game, that's always fun. Your Ohio Valley Conference and Big South will be your first uh,
For folks
tournaments
to
to
go
kick
dance.
off. Yeah, on the
Yeah.
6th, the Missouri Valley tournament is this week. The 7th, starting the 7th. The Atlantic
Mm-hmm.
Sun this week. The Sun Belt, the Southern Conference, Horizon League, Northeast, the CAA, the West Coast Conference. How did that game end up last night? Actually, I did not finish watching that St. Mary's Gonzaga
Gonzaga
game.
blew them out.
Gonzaga, oh, wow. So no perfect conference year for St. Mary's.
Nope.
Um,
But they did win the conference still, of course. But yeah, no
Still
perfect
in the conference. Gonzaga's really come on. There was some
point.
talk earlier in the year that they might have been on the bubble.
Yeah. Now what I think now the pretty much they ended the season hot. They're going to I think the tournament for what the read the what the, I'm not sure if it was a no when did it was at least the 20th year in a row that they've gone to the tournament or
Hmm.
something more. So I mean it's been an epic run at Gonzaga just with what they've done. I mean they went from
Hmm.
a mid major was a cute story to man they're a powerhouse in ball.
Hmm.
So but I'm sure we'll probably see that St. Mary's Gonzaga matchup again. It's
Hmm.
some actually some decent, a fun tournament, the West Coast Conference one. I like to watch it.
Yeah, yeah, no, it is absolutely a great one. I don't know. Let's see. Looking here at so it's looking like there'll be a two bid league this year, but is
Mhm.
San Francisco? No,
San
they're not there.
Francisco
Okay,
has a decent. They have a decent record, but the
they
thing,
do.
I just
Yeah,
don't
I
know
don't think.
how strong they consider the conference. Um,
Yeah, so I wonder if maybe they messed around and won that conference tournament. If the West Coast would be a three bid lead. Um,
yeah, because you would have to think that the
mhm,
two normal ones are in with St.
mhm.
Mary's and Gonzaga. But the Dons, yeah, they've had a heck of a season. They've actually had some decent, couple of decent seasons in a row. But I mean, 22-9, 11-5 in the West Coast. I don't know if that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they probably have to win the whole thing for sure to get in. But
Mhm. But yeah, like we said, some conference tournaments start this week. Other teams vying for bubble berths. It's that really
you know,
fun time of college basketball.
definitely is. You really love it for the conference tournaments, especially for the little guys that the only way they get in is winning their conference tournaments. So,
Hmm.
I mean, when they, get actually, cutting down the nets, and just what it means, because I mean, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of these guys. It's not very often, that they get that big spotlight on them. Just with the money in those programs and just, a lot of them, you know, some of them you barely can even afford to get to the tournament. It's crazy, at times when they like when St. Peter's went on that run 2 years ago, just their stories of how they struggled to even be able to get to the tournament games. It's just just
Hmm.
crazy. Some of those mid majors and those smaller schools, just how fun it is. But then also the thing that of course, is just where we're at, and it always has been like that. You feel bad though for the teams that win the regular season and then slip up somewhere in the tournament, and then they're kind of just out.
Yeah.
They have nowhere to really go. So it's like it almost like the regular season in some of these conferences really doesn't matter. you know,
Hmm.
but it's
Yeah.
kind of whether it's
Yeah. Elsewhere in the college hoops world, Caitlin Clark set the all-time NCAA record this weekend. She passed Pistol Pete Maravich. I think I saw she's like 20 points away from the all-time college record. Someone in the AIAW that holds that.
so she'll have that in the no.
Yeah, right. Next game. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, congrats to her. Just
it's a
a baller, a shooter, a scorer. Um,
epic career.
hmm
Huh? And,
Yeah,
uh,
she
and
also announced this week that she's entering the WNBA draft, so she's probably your number one pick right there.
yeah, you would have to think so. And
Hmm.
that's an interesting thing. As the college women's game has become so much more popular. With her and Angel Reese, and what South Carolina's been, and just getting a much more national, just more national appeal. It'd be interesting to see if that has any effect of if that makes the WNBA more popular going forward, or if it'll still be the
Hmm.
same old for the league. But,
Yeah, the bigger star power.
yeah,
As the WNBA has at its best moments, that's what has really driven them. Kind of like the NBA is, they've had massive stars. Your Deanna Taurasi's, Lisa Leslie's,
mhm,
Teresa Witherspoon's. Um,
yeah,
uh, uh,
Maya Moore more recently, of course, Candace
hmm
Parker for a while.
yeah,
Um, so, but I think that as far as the college women's game, that's the thing that really is driving it, is because these players just, there's you're not leaving after your freshman year, so us as fans, we get to know these folks because they're there 3 years. They're there 3 4 years, so the names that we see, Kaylin Clark, they grow on you because you're seeing them 3 4 years. And
hmm
I think that has really helped the women's game because it's really become much more of a national thing. Of course, you get your ABC games, you get your national ESPN games. It's not as regionalized as it once was. You know, for the longest it was Tennessee, Yukon, and people popped up every now and again, but it was nothing like what it's become.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, well said. It's funny. It's something that 20 years ago when we were in school, I used to tell people, "Oh yeah, that was my kind of sexist thing. Is like women's basketball was boring. I didn't want to watch it, and the game has just made leaps and bounds in terms of excitement and exposure,
Mm-hmm.
and hope it continues.
For sure.
Um, and uh, assuming we'll see Caitlin Clark in one of those 3-point showdowns in the near
So
future.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
Um, yeah. Meanwhile, while college hoops is doing good things, college college football people are meeting for the playoff. There are talks of expanding it to 14 teams, and the
Already.
SEC and Big Ten each getting. Yeah, already we haven't even had a 12 team one yet. Three automatic bids each for the Big Ten and SEC, two each for the AC. Which, I mean, would they even play the conference title games in? Because
Yeah,
what's the point? Um,
that is the. I know the Big
that's
Ten and the SEC were already lined it if their champions would be the get the buys automatically. I mean,
yeah,
probably gonna would happen that way, but I'm like, man, is everybody else really gonna be okay with that? Like, I don't. I just
yeah. Yeah, and if they're not, is it just a case where the SEC and Big Ten just take some more teams? They,
yeah,
cherry pick some teams from the conferences they want, and they just break off and do their own thing,
yeah.
which none
Who's
of us want.
right?
So yeah,
But yeah,
hopefully.
I mean, a 14 team. I mean, I'm sure eventually we'll get there because I mean that's just what the world we live in. They more
Hmm.
football, more money, you know. But man, we haven't even played a 12 to see what it's like, and we're already trying to expand again. It's like chill out. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, let's just chill the fuck out. Um, Sorry, getting distracted. Watch it. Got this UAB Memphis game on in the background here, and UAB one is killing Memphis. They're up 18 at the end of the first half here. But saw a familiar sight. Javon Quinterly, of course, former Bammer, transferred to Memphis this past year,
Mm-hmm.
and he drove the lane only to get his shot rejected into the fifth row. Um, I know
Yeah,
there's a lot of Bama fans that don't miss that sight. I do miss that. Adding his guard play would, maybe it would take away from Sears and Estrada to a degree, but
yeah,
couple
but
couple possessions later, he made a beautiful drive and a spin move to get
right.
away from a block. So,
He's
that's just
definitely
the.
a guy.
Oh, here
He'll
comes a 3-pointer
frustrate
from the
you,
logo. Oh, just drained a 3-pointer from the logo at the halftime buzzer.
but he's a guy that will frustrate
Hmm.
the heck out of you. But then
Hmm.
he'll do some stuff you'll be like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. The JQ experience is all over.
But one thing is, you can never question that man's heart. He has a lot
No,
of it.
absolutely not. But yeah, still a big deficit for the Tigers. They going down 15. Um,
Yeah,
and what I'm thinking, probably a must-win game for both teams as they fight for some bubble berths themselves. Staying on the hardwood, moving to the NBA, kind of big story this week. LeBron James passing 40,000.
some points.
Um, yeah, just insane. Um, Another, notch in his argument for best ever. Of course, we've
Mm.
we've talked about it on the show before. There's no wrong answer. Um, if you
Yeah,
if you
no.
if you're an MJ guy, you're probably right. If you're a LeBron guy, you're right. Uh, if you're an old school Bill Russell or something guy, you're right then too. The
Yeah,
different
I
eras of the
mean,
game.
that's just where we're at. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be opinions there. And it's kind of what it is. I mean, we're never gonna, folks are never gonna agree on that either. have the MJ LeBron. There's the Kobe guys. I
Mhm.
mean, it's fun to argue, but then no matter how you feel about LeBron, I mean, what his career has been
Mhm.
exceptional. Just just the pressure. You just think about the pressure when he came into the league of being the next guy
Mhm.
that was going to get the next guy that was going to carry the league. I mean, if he had done what he did for 10 years, that would have been extraordinary. But he's on year 20. And I mean, the Lakers are up and down. But I mean, the performance he had last night, I mean, he had a huge game. At any night he could throw up 35 on you. I mean, it's crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
just,
mentioned it. It's the versatility and the longevity is the most impressive part of his career, um, by
and
far.
what slowed down for him is still, we see, he's not, of course, the same LeBron that he was, but you compare him to other guys at the end of their career, and
Mhm.
they were nowhere, even stars, nowhere near what he is right now. It's crazy.
Mhm. Yeah. Elsewhere in the NBA, a huge the Celtics today. Whew, 52
Oh,
point win over Golden State. Mm. Yeah, that's about all you can say for that. Is just
yeah, yeah.
um,
Celtics playing good ball right now.
yeah, far and away the best team in the East.
That they are. Yeah, they
Uh,
obliterated Cavs the other night. Was that Friday night? Just
mhm,
obliterated us. We were no one. We've been hot after going into the All Star break in the start of the week, and now we've lost three in a row. And now, now we're in eighth in the West. Now we're somewhere you want to be right now. So,
mm-mm.
that West at the bottom is tight.
It is. Yeah, game and a half up on Golden State there for that.
Loss here and there, and you drop four. You could drop 4 or 5 spots real quick.
Yeah, between the Pelicans in fifth and the Lakers in 10th, only 3.5 games separate all those teams, those 6 teams. So, but yeah, you're definitely trying to get above that play in line, which right
Oh,
now Phoenix is in that sixth spot, a half a game ahead of San Francisco, Sacramento. Um,
yeah, because one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to play a Steph or a LeBron in a 1 game elimination thing if you're above them. If you're the
mm-mm.
7 or 8 playing LeBron or Steph, I don't want to be in that. It's not what
No,
I want to
yeah,
be a 7 and 8 seed.
no, yeah. If you're in that play and you want to be the 7 or 8, you want to win that first game, just get that 7 seed and uh, take it home. As of right now, Golden State and LA at least would play each other, um, and knock one or
Right?
the other out. But
Yeah,
they're
I
lurking,
would.
always lurking right there. Yeah.
I would not want to be playing them on the final game of the regular season to determine who's going to be in the playoff. Get out there playing. Like
No.
that would not who you want to play against, Steph or LeBron, in a 1 game elimination. Yikes!
Mm-mm. Yeah, absolutely not. And speaking of teams, just kind of we mentioned the log jam. In the East, it's pretty. Um,
Pretty cut and dry.
we know Boston's going to be the 1 seed. Cleveland and Milwaukee are going to be right behind them. And you got the Knicks, Sixers, Heat, Magic, Pacers, all kind of right there fighting for that 4, 5, 6 seeds, and then the first two play-in spots. And you got a little bit of a fight for that jumping in those last two play-ins. You got Chicago and the Hawks, the Nets, and a little bit the Raptors right there. They're far out, but they're still in it. Uh,
So,
in the West, though, Denver winners of 6 in a row, 7 of the last 10. Uh, did it to the Lakers again the other night.
man, they own the Lakers.
That
Awesome.
they do. It's crazy, and it just looks like one of those things where it's like they've decided, like, okay, it's time to get serious about this now. Um,
Hmm.
which is bad news for the rest of the league.
Yeah, because yeah, they're right now. Denver's just that team. Until somebody beats them, there's really no reason to pick against them in a 7 game series. Till you see
Hmm.
it actually happen, I'm not picking anybody over Denver. They're just
No,
in that
yeah,
who they
it,
are right now.
yeah. As good as the Celtics have looked, like maybe they're coming out the East, but still, you don't pick against the champs when they're playing just as good as they did last year.
'Cause beating them
Um,
4 games is gonna be
mhm.
tough. Well, if they're
Yeah,
healthy, outside of injury, I just don't see anybody really beating them in a 7 game
mm-mm.
series. That's just tough.
No, yeah, it's not something that you expect to happen. Um, let's see elsewhere around the world of sports this week. Unfortunate news today. Longtime ESPN NFL guy Chris Mortensen passed
Uh,
away.
uh,
Um, guys in our age groups, especially, just grew up. He joined ESPN in '91, and if you watched anything they did on the NFL, he was
he's the guy. I
yeah,
mean,
Chris Mortensen
the
was the
original.
guy. Mhm.
He was the original newsbreaker guy before Shefty. you know,
Yeah, he was. Uh-huh.
he was the go-to guy for everything NFL related, and it seemed like a real classy guy, good guy, and all
Hmm.
around. Beat the throat cancer he had. Seemed,
Hmm.
but yeah, tough loss for the sports world for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, just a guy who been around forever. Wrote at the Atlanta Journal Constitution back in the day before joining ESPN.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just great in the world of broadcasting and sports broadcasting.
No, duh.
Elsewhere around the NFL, this combine week this week, Xavier Worthy broke the fastest ever 40 time
Crazy.
at 4.2.1, just lightning quick.
Yeah,
Um, Barely beat out our boy Dallas Turner, just picking it up, putting him down
man.
the line. What was his, like a 4.46?
Yeah,
Uh,
just
and
crazy.
he was swerving a little bit. Could
Yeah.
have shaved another tenth or two off if he'd stayed
Oh
straight
yeah.
line, but
I mean,
uh,
his whole con he put up numbers.
oh,
he
Dallas Turner earned himself a few extra $1 million this week.
Yeah, because
He's
the
gonna
first team
jump.
not taking a quarterback. The first team that's looking at a defensive guy not taking a quarterback or one of the wide
Mhm.
receivers, you would have to think Dallas Turner's your guy. like he's
Absolutely, it's hard to see him not being the first non-quarterback guy, also non-Marvin Harrison guy.
yeah.
Even then, I mean, it is a passing league. That's what would make me put Marvin Harrison Jr. over him. Is that
Hmm.
you can't, in the way the game is today, pass up that kind of talent at receiver.
Possible generational talent. Yeah,
But yeah, if the Ellis Turner, I mean, you build your defenses around the edge guys, and just, oh man,
and it seems like Atlanta seems to a lot of stuff right now. Seems to be kind of the Atlanta spot, but
mhm,
we'll see how that plays out because Atlanta's does some weird stuff in the draft,
mhm. Um,
and of
and
course
other
they
than that, it was franchise week. I think the only really notable one, T. Higgins got a franchise tag from the Bengals.
are,
Um, so they will at least play with that dynamic duo, a receiver, one more year, if not longer, if they work out a
a deal or
extension
something.
with them, or maybe even a trade. Who knows? But yeah, and then of course everybody just prognosticating where top free agents are going to land. Uh, yeah, and until it happens, that's just kind of what it
Yeah,
is.
all speculating. It's kind of like the draft. Everybody speculating has a
Mhm.
thought about, it, but we're all until it happens.
Yeah. Spring training keeping on rolling for the major leagues.